Hmm. Looks like Vic's Dojo Fox and Tiger Claw are watching me on DeviantArt, and I got 4 messages. Although I wish I can find a way to get to see the notes since I'm not, approve of the email or Gmail or whatever. So, okay, so if you guys know, on my blog post, I did thought of this series called Let's Talk About series, where I look into some fandom wikis, whether they be bad or just meh or whatever, just to talk about them. And okay, so what's the first one we'll be talking about today? Sorry. Well, yeah, if you see it right, SpongeBob and Friends Adventures. So some of you guys are wondering what the heck that is. It sounds like a weird fan fiction. Well, it is, and it's really crazy. It's a spin-off to Pooh's Adventures, yes, indeed, one of Pooh's Adventures, where it's SpongeBob goes around in this whole world, that's right, worlds, like in the Kingdom Hearts style, basically fighting against the forces of evil and all that stuff. Let's just say this series was made by this YouTuber known as ScroopFan32123111. Yeah, he's a Scroop fan, and he's one of the Adventure Team community members, or the Pooh's Adventures team, thought of making this adventure series of SpongeBob SquarePants, of course. And yeah, let's just say this, the really younger dumb me, I used to watch this, and yeah, looking back on it, it's really, I regret ever liking this stuff, but is it as cringy as Pooh's Adventures? Well, you might say cringy, but also the what the heck moments, as I have everything memorized when I used to first watch them, since there's no longer videos of them. So, the main page. So, the first episode of SpongeBob's Adventures is SpongeBob's Adventures of the Lion King. Yes, just like any Pooh's Adventures, it's this poster they made. It's where Simba teams up with SpongeBob, Squidward, and Patrick in there, and Scar's helped by Plankton and Dennis. And the one thing differently they add for the hyenas in this one, after SpongeBob, Patrick, and Squidward beat the hyenas, it's kind of revealed that they're the part of the club members of the shell. You know, the magic conch shell. I wish there was a video to show you guys. It's just how dumb that sounds. So yeah, it's the thing. The hyenas are reformed in that series just because they're part of the same club as SpongeBob and Patrick were in. And that's what made them switch sides and stop Scar. Weird. Of course, there was SpongeBob's Adventures of the Lion King 2, but not for today. Then, the third one, which is SpongeBob and the Hyenas. Yes, SpongeBob and the Hyenas get lost in Madagascar. It's where they get to meet the, reunion with Plankton and Zira and Nuka. No Scar, but we got this character that looks like he's from Spore, called Cobra. Or Lord Cobra. No, not that G.I. Joe one. Does that look like a G.I. Joe character? Yeah, so we'll talk about him for a minute. We'll get to him soon, so. And then after that, there was SpongeBob's Adventures of Kung Fu Panda. And this time they brought along Madagascar gang. And here's a different one. Yes, unlike Pooh's Adventures where they keep the same subplot, they can add different things to it. And also add some really cartoony logic. Yeah. Instead of the blank page like in the scroll, it's a map to Cave of Wonders for some reason to add that in there. And then after that, there was SpongeBob and Friends meets Aladdin. Yeah, and now it's SpongeBob and Friends. And in this one, Jafar was helped by Dr. Facilier and Audrey too. Yeah, it's really weird, but instead of the whole epic climax between Aladdin and Jafar, they just like, oh, Jafar's already rested. Yeah. And so, the whole thing, the main members are known as the Shellad Squad, which is probably named after that club that they were in. You know, SpongeBob, Patrick, and those hyenas. So, yeah, here are all the members. And that includes reformed villains. Like the hyenas, of course. Then, yeah, Mr. Smee is reformed. Okay, and then even Sir Hiss. So in this series of SpongeBob and Friends Meet Robin Hood, Sir Hiss was actually a childhood friend of Viper. Like, wait, what? And that's when he switched sides to them. So they had the hyenas, Sir Hiss, trying to think it. I'm trying to remember. There's a lot of them. It's just weird. Yeah, even the King of Hearts from Alice in Wonderland is reformed. I guess he just doesn't like bad guys, henchmen being abused by the bosses for some reason. I don't know why. Don't ask. So, yeah, let's go into this one. So, there is a thing called the Villain League. I'll get to that now. So, the Villain League is the major villain forces against SpongeBob and the Shellad that was founded by Lord Cobra for some reason. And hold on. So, yes, Cinder is in that series. So, it's the first time it was a canon in Legend of Spyro. She was reformed until, in the non-canon one in this series, she's evil again because of Lord Cobra. Let me go back. Yeah. So this is the OC that this guy made. Lord Cobra. A snake with multiple heads. And using them as feet. I wonder how they feel. Being used as feet. So, yeah, he's basically, what I can get is that he's like the founder of the Villain League, and he's like the major villain in this one. Yeah, and he even sings Be Prepared. Yeah, Scar's song. So, yeah, he's the one who, made Cinder evil just to be his daughter for whatever reason. And I don't get why, though. So, yeah, the Villain League is just a bunch of villains. As you can go to the pages, there's loads of them. And, of course, there is a faction they wanted to bring back known as the Darkspawn. Yes, that title was taken from Dragon Age Origins, which is a game I played, which is hard for me to beat, since now I don't have Xbox 360. Hopefully I'll get one that's for, maybe Xbox One, or maybe PS5 as soon as I get enough money to get it. So, yeah, there are Darkspawn Lords, and that'd be Malifaux, from the villain from Spyro. Joe, how is he ancient? He's a fish from, 2000s era. Hexes, the Titans for some reason, and yeah. So, yeah, Malifaux is, the head honcho of the Darkspawn. And, of course, so, yeah, the one thing that you guys would have been having head scratches is SpongeBob and Friends' quest for Camelot. Or go on a quest for Camelot. And Ruber was stripped of his main villain rights for some reason. It's instead of him being king, it's Cinder. Yeah, Dark Cinder. And what I remember creepily is that he and Cinder were a thing. Are you kidding me? Why would a man fall in love with a dragon? Yeah. So, yeah, that's just weird. And his fate in there is that he got sent by an ogre to death. Yeah. And, of course, there's this Fagin, which I have not seen this movie. It's called War of the Birds. Apparently, he's like a pet bird from Malifaux. I would think he's probably from the 70s or something. How can he be such an ancient being? And, of course, there's even Abbott and Costello, which are the mice, the parody of Abbott and Costello, which are voiced by Abbott and Costello. They're from Looney Tunes, a short called A Tale of Two Rats. Yeah, in that series, they were henchmen to Ratigan along with Fidget, but they reformed, and even Fidget was reformed, and these two became Basil's assistants. Yeah, good luck with that. Yeah, also, this does lead to a lot of cartoon logic for some reason. So if you ever do get to see these videos, if they were not deleted or got removed or whatever, there is a lot of cartoon logic into there. Like, whenever a character gets hit or gets pained, they get Tom scream like, ah! I'm sorry, that was a bad impression. It's a Tom and Jerry scream. I'll leave the link so you guys might get it. Come on. And, of course, whenever a character gets thrown through the air or just fall off the air, it's a like that. I don't get why. That's just weird. And of course, there is the Villain League known as that is led by Dr. Nefarious from Ratchet and Clank. And I don't even question how is he a Darkspawn if he's not that ancient. Yeah, if you ever go to like any of their wiki pages on this one, you'll be having your head scratched. Like, how are they so ancient? They're not that old. Or in medieval times. Yeah, he had his own team called Team Nefarious, which is, members like King DDD, Doofenshmirtz, and Ray for some reason. Yeah. And, oh yeah, for one thing I forgot when I did a rant on Pooh's Adventures, I could have forgot to mention that in that series, my oldest mon is portrayed as the son, or the adopted son, of Maleficent and Jafar. Well, in this series, it's the same thing. He's also Maleficent and Jafar's son. So yeah, Maleficent and Jafar hooked up, and they had a kid. They adopted one who's a grown vampire. Don't ask why. Don't ask me, I mean. And speaking of Pooh's Adventures, yeah, even Bowser is, as an ally to Malefor, also escaped from the Banished Realm, which is their equivalent to Hell. And yeah, a leader of his own villain league in the Pooh's Adventures. So yeah, there's that logic. And of course, there's Mistress Nine, which, okay, she's just cosplaying as Queen Narissa. How can you not tell that it's Queen Narissa outfit? Why is she dressed like that? And how is she I don't want to say anything negative to the person who draw this, but I just think it should have been better drawn. I'm not trying to say I'm be better than that, but I'm just asking. And of course, there's this thing called the Fang Empire, which is an alliance led by this character, Emperor Fang. And get what he looks like. He looks like a really bad recolored version of Sir Hiss. Yeah, he's the secret evil twin brother of Sir Hiss and an evil mage who studied on the dark arts and lead his own faction. Yeah. And of course, what I read is that it's disbanded and it's been taken over by the Dark Dragon, and it's called the Dark Dragon Scourge Empire. Yeah. The Dark Dragon overthrew him. Says the age of fool that was Emperor Fang is done. You have but a new, much more worthy emperor now. Obey your new master, the Dark Dragon. Blah, 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 blah. And, oh yeah, and I almost forgot. There was even a really bad recolored of Iago named Otholio. I'll leave the link down below. I'm sorry it's so blurry. Yeesh. He's Iago's rarely seen brother. For some reason, they had to make an OC reference of siblings, I guess. And of course, there are Heartless from the Kingdom Hearts. So yeah, there's Frollo's Heartless, and how is Monstrona Heartless? I have no idea. Ratican, you mean where he's a complete rat? Yeah. And should have looked into that one. Apparently Fagin has a Heartless form called a Nightmare Phoenix Fagin. Hey, you gave the Firebird a really long beak. Huh. Look how big his nose is. Put some boxers on your head. I'm being uncomfortable at what I don't want to think what it is. Oh yeah, there's a Nega Xehanort. Yeah, it's basically looks like a Heartless version of Xehanort, literally. The ASAFA black. Becoming a darker and more evil variant of the original Xehanort. And there's him, Nega Xehanort, as the original looking Xehanort. For I don't know why though. And look, known as Nega Zeus compared to the Disney Zeus. Okay. bizarre. Oh yeah, and I could have also talked about Ratchet and Clank. So yeah, they have their own team known as Team Anti-Nefarious. Anti-Team Nefarious Freedom Fighters, that is. That is like Kirby, Agent P, yeah, it's these... I'm sorry, I'm trying to keep track. Okay, the one thing I remember when I used to watch these videos, also, there was it wasn't the Avengers one, but it was a compilation where the characters do the Tom scream from Tom and Jerry and the Goofy holler. Yeah, I guess it relies on cartoon logic, but what I don't like is that they would make animated characters act like they're actually Looney Tunes, or Tom and Jerry, or Tex Avery, or all that stuff. And I know some of you guys would be thinking, dude, it's mostly because they're just cartoons, so that makes sense. No, here's my answer to that. No, it's not just a cartoon. Okay, just because something is animated, it doesn't mean it's a cartoon. So take the Lion King, for example. In that scene where Scar has to push Mufasa off the edge of a cliff to be run over by a stampede of wildebeest. Imagine that scene, but instead of he actually died, he'd be as flat as a pancake and he'd still be okay. That'd be uncomfortable to watch. I'll leave the link to the one from Coded Lock Films when he did 101 Dalmatians 2 review, and you guys will get why there's a difference between animated and cartoony. Also, yeah, there was even SpongeBob and Friends meets Dinosaur. Don't you mean dinosaurs? The one thing I remember in that video is that these two... actually, no. Come on, get out of here. Actually, those three are like the Chenzi, Bonsai, and Ed version of those Velociraptors. And this pterodactyl is supposed to be like a knockoff of Scar. Well, technically a clone of Scar, mutated by Lord Cobra and Dark Cinder. So, yeah, he even commanded the Carnotaurs for some reason. And I also remember there was two dinosaurs arguing over which sports teams are better. Which football team it's just weird. And of course, there's Group Fan 3212311, known in this one as Super Writer Maniac. Yeah, that guy. And zero posts. I wonder. And when I looked down there, guess he found the review. Yeah, when I read it, so yeah, I'll probably leave up a link down below to that one. So. Yeah, that's the spin-off of Pooh's Adventures, SpongeBob and Friends Adventures wiki. What are my thoughts on it? It's embarrassingly bad. Yeah, it's kind of laughably bad. The whole thing, I mean, if SpongeBob and Friends go on a quest for Camelot, that would have been the most talked about, get slandered hard, far more than the original one. Well, technically it's a mixed up, the movie is. Or use that as a good example of just how bad the Adventure Team stuff is. So, yeah, I really regret ever get into that stuff when I was a kid, watch these videos. Even though the videos are no longer around. Don't seem to find his channel anywhere. So, yes, SpongeBob and Friends Adventures, it's just... Yeah, gotta go.